Hello, everybody. Welcome to Side Effect. This is a little Flickr Effect sideshow we do in the middle of the week, every week, usually on Wednesday nights, where we will be talking about the world of film, television, and pop culture, and, whatever floats our boat. I'm David Lott. Joining me this week is Bobby Jackson.
Hey, what's up?
And Michelle Hillard.
Hello, everybody. Hello.
This week, we got some Golden Globes to talk about. We got Black Panther already breaking some records, or a record. And I finally saw Star Wars The Last Jedi again, and I have some things to say. But I'm going to hold off on that until the end of the show, because I can tell you right now I'm not going to be able to not talk about spoilers. So I won't drone on too long about it, but at the very end of the show, I got a little bit to yap about with that. First, though, last night I experienced something for the first time I've never experienced in the world of film. It was my first time.
This is intriguing. I can't begin to guess.
Michelle was there, but she's giving me a look like, what could it be?
Oh, okay. I know. Okay. like, what the hell happened to you last night? I don't know about you, but I was at a movie.
I had never actually experienced a 35 millimeter film catching in the projector and melting.
Oh, that was your first time? Oh, yeah.
That was my first time.
Yeah, see, I used to be a projectionist on film.
Yeah, I'm
so
sure.
I was like, yeah.
Wait, what does that say about you if you were the projectionist and that happened a lot to you?
It was not I. I've seen it happen, but I went, oh, that was so-and-so. Hey, who loaded it last? Who threaded last? Not me. Yeah.
So yeah, last night we went and saw a 35 millimeter print of Tim Burton's Ed Wood. I took a break from the trying to constantly watch new movies every night this week to prepare for a top 10 show. Took a break from that to go see a movie I'd seen before, but Michelle had not seen before.
I've never seen Ed Wood. Just crazy, I know. Saw
35 millimeter print. Yeah, it was getting pretty close to the end of the film.
And it was pretty close to the end, yeah.
Yeah, pretty close to the end. There it went. And I was like, oh, wow, that really happened. That's a thing. I knew it was a thing. I'm not, like, obviously I knew that really happened. But it's like, it's one of those things for those who hadn't experienced it. You've probably experienced it via other movies kind of showing it happen, you know?
Right, like in a film, it shows it happening to an audience. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, wow, that just happened just now. I don't know. It was interesting.
And you know what's funny is because of the way Ed Wood kind of was done.
Yeah, it's black and white, and the 35 millimeter print we were watching was definitely an older print that had seen many years.
It was dirty. It was a little worn. And then what's funny is because I've never seen Ed Wood, I didn't know if that was actually done by Tim Burton intentionally. So I'm watching it the whole time going, wow, he really got...
He's trying to pull a Tarantino Grindhouse
right. I was like, he's getting gritty with it, and so I was like, okay, I'm down with this. And then that happened, and there was a hot second as it happened. I was like, oh, is that part of the film? And everybody in the audience was like, no. And because it's a cult showing of this film, so everybody's
pretty much
seen
everyone in there had seen it.
I was like, oh, that wasn't supposed to. Oh, that legitimately just happened. Oh, my bad. Yeah, because at first I wasn't like worried, and then I was like, "Oh no, oh crap!"
They fixed the film pretty quickly. Had it back.
They did. They did a good job. Good job to our art house.
Thanks, Enzian.
Theater. Good job, Enzian. So that was Ed Wood.
That was Ed Wood. Really quick, what'd you think of Ed Wood? You'd never seen it,
right? I liked it. I liked Ed Wood. I thought it was interesting. I don't know if I can say that was my favorite Tim Burton film.
I mean, I wouldn't say that, but I like Ed Wood a lot. But
apparently it rates very high on other people's lists.
It does.
Of Tim Burton films. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the film for what it was, but I was kind of like, at the end of it, I was kind of like, okay, that's cool.
I mean, I would argue that it definitely, I think, does better on repeat viewings for me. Like, I hadn't seen it in a long time. Mm-hmm. And I liked Ed Wood, but it wasn't like, I'll be honest too, it wasn't for me like pinnacle Burton. It's up there, but it
right.
You know, like the guy from the Enzian who introduced it. I don't remember his name, but he definitely introduced it like this is the best Tim Burton film ever.
He thinks it is the best Tim Burton film ever created.
And I don't fall into that camp, But it had been a long time since I'd seen it. And I got to say, watching it last night was probably the most entertaining viewing I had seen of it, especially because you're in a room full of people who love it. Everyone was enjoying it.
Everybody's laughing and giggling and having a good time with it. Oh, yeah.
I'd kind of forgotten about Bill Murray's performance in it, which...
That was really, I will say.
Yeah.
That was good. I didn't even know Bill Murray was in the film. And then I was like, oh, wow. And then, like, to see the character he's playing, I was like, oh, my God, this is magical. I was like, oh, wow, this is awesome.
But anyway, that was Ed Wood last night.
Ed Wood.
So, yeah, we didn't get to record a regular show this past weekend because we decided to watch the Golden Globes instead.
The Golden Globes! You get a Golden Globe, and you get a Golden Globe, and you get a Golden Globe.
Really?
Sorry, was that too much?
No, it's cool.
Okay.
You're getting caught up in Oprah Winfrey fever, Michelle?
Oprah!
You didn't watch it, Bobby, right? Or have you seen it since?
Yeah, I did watch. Yeah,
you did watch.
I had to watch it later, but yeah.
What did everybody think about this year's awards? Michelle, any thoughts?
I have to say, woot woot, women's rights, feminism, yeah, time's up. I was honestly, the sea of black was a smidge depressing.
Definitely the whole show this year was just very somber compared to pretty much every other Golden Globes broadcast.
It really was. And I'm saying that, and I actually enjoyed the Golden Globes, but it was it was almost a little too in the real world now. Do you know what I mean? Like, I watch these award shows to kind of be like, oh, I'm going to forget the worries of the world right now and make fun of the president or make fun of, the production studios and make fun of, this person in the tabloids. Like, I'm there to kind of lose myself in the time, but to be so, like, in what's happening as a social consciousness and to have that just be, like, pounded into the show the entire night, I was like, wow, this is kind of not the normal award show. It was kind of but I think Seth Meyers' monologue, dude, killed it. His monologue was on point. Mm-hmm. I thought the jokes were awesome, and there were jokes where you went, ooh, he went there, oh, but at the same time I was like, I'm kind of glad he went there. That was funny. That was hilarious. I was down with it. So I think overall, I liked the Golden Globes this year. I did not have as much fun with the Golden Globes as I traditionally do because it's usually
it was hard to have as much fun this year with it.
It really was, and it's usually so much more laid back than even the. It's just it's usually more lighthearted. So it's kind of depressing that it was so serious. And I'm not trying to dilute the message here. I just feel that maybe this might not have been the right venue to have the message. Maybe it was, and I'm just being weird. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think it's one of those things, though. It's like it's the first big award show since this is kind of all started, and I mean, how do you not
address it? Right.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Bobby, do you enjoy your Golden Globes experience?
For the most part, I think I'm on the opposite side of what Michelle was saying as far as pretty much the mood of it. I think it was definitely called for and needed, especially with most of that stuff stemming from Hollywood. So it definitely had to be addressed. And I think I think you can expect that to be a theme to run throughout the rest of the awards as well. I'm sure we'll get a lot of it at the Oscars as also. But oddly enough, I didn't really enjoy Seth Meyers as a host. I don't know what it was for me. It just it felt like his jokes, the timing was off to a certain degree to where I don't mind him making uncomfortable jokes or something that are stingers, but it just felt kind of, I don't know if the jokes themselves felt very much as a matter of fact, sort of just in your face, but not clever. Whereas I felt like if Tina Fey and Amy Poehler were doing those same jokes, they would have made it in a more funnier kind of, I don't know. I just didn't.
You think his
feel
delivery
that
was
vibe.
off?
Yeah. I think
Right.
that's what I'm trying to say. And so, I mean, but the for the most part, like I said, I did enjoy them because just I always enjoy seeing people go up and trying to gauge their speeches in terms of how good they are and what they might say. And there wasn't too many like weird things other than the Natalie Portman point
A
that I
little
was
jab she
like,
made, yeah.
oh, ouch. Yeah, yeah, I wouldn't say it was weird, but it was definitely unscripted and you could tell. And the other one that actually was my most uncomfortable point of the night was when Kirk Douglas was out there um, talking for his career when who was he with?
Catherine Zeta-Jones, his daughter-in-law.
Yeah, yeah, and that was just sort of painful to watch, just because it was hard to understand him, and just seeing him. I haven't seen him in forever, so I think I still had an older image of him in my head in terms
Mm.
of what I remember seeing him as, and to see him now, it was sort of sad and uncomfortable to me.
Yeah, it's almost bittersweet seeing old Hollywood icons age.
Yeah.
It's you have this image of them in your head, and obviously people age. Like that's welcome to Mother Nature, a circle of life. But it's hard to see them, and I'll say, for 100 years old, Kirk Douglas is holding in there, and which is awesome. But at the same time, it is a little bit jarring when you see such an icon of Hollywood, especially old Hollywood, age.
Yeah.
It definitely takes you aback because in your head you always have your own image of that person, and so yeah, it's a little jarring.
Totally.
Yeah, I don't know. I have always watched the Golden Globes every year just because I can't help it. It's like, oh, it's entertaining. Just watch celebrities. In terms of the actual awards, I kind of take them with a grain of salt every year. They tend to hand out some awards that I find to be a little questionable, but especially compared to the Oscars.
Do you have one or two for an example? Because I have two that are my
For this
kind of
year?
like. I have two that are my kind of like. Oh, really? I guess so. Okay, kind of for me. But.
Oh man, that's tough because I will say there's a lot of awards that were handed out this year for stuff I haven't seen. So it's like I'm not gonna question, like, say, James Franco getting a Best Actor award when I haven't seen The Disaster Artist. So what do I know? But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I've heard really great things about Three Billboards, but I've also kind of recognized some of the critical backlash it's gotten. Now, I haven't seen this movie yet either, so I can't speak to that, but I was surprised that it won because of the negative things I've heard about the movie.
Right.
So that caught me a little off guard. I wasn't expecting that. I really kind of felt like Shape of Water was going to get it, or The Post, just because The Post is so really topical.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have been surprised if they had just kind of made a statement by awarding that the Best Picture award. But I don't know. This year in particular, I'm looking at the winners right now, and nothing's jumping out at me as like, oh my God, what were they thinking? There's been previous years definitely that I felt that way. But.
You mentioned the two that were my kind of things, and I'm saying that, and I'm with you. I have not seen The Disaster Artist. However, I definitely kind of went, really? James Franco? Because I've seen some of the other things that were nominated, and I'm like, and I've seen the other actors, and I'm like, I don't know. I kind of was surprised by that one. I was kind of like, I guess so. But it's hard to criticize because I have not seen that film, but I'm still kind of like, eh. And then, yeah, same thing was Three Billboards for me. I was in your same boat. Like, I was thinking it was going to be The Post, I guess. And I'm going to say this because I can't think of a better word, but I guess in a way the sellout choice I thought would have been Dunkirk, kind of, because everybody was so, it's such a great war film for our times. And I enjoyed Dunkirk. I'm not trying to negative it. I felt like it was going to go out to The Post or Dunkirk and or The Shape of Water. And so when it went to Three Billboards, I was like, oh, really? And that's a film I definitely want to see. I'm very excited to see that soon. But I've definitely been like, wow, okay. That's not one of the, no, I was very surprised. So yeah, those are my two kind of like, what? everything else was, I was like, I'm down with this. I'm down with these choices.
So yeah, big winners for the night were, Handmaid's Tale won Best Drama for TV series, and Elizabeth Moss Best Actress in a Drama TV series for that show. Big Little Lies definitely did pretty well with Best Miniseries. And then Alexander Skarsgård getting an award for that. Laura Dern, Nicole Kidman. And Three Billboards, as we just mentioned, got Best Drama. I was really happy to see Guillermo del Toro win Best Director.
Yeah, me too, yeah.
Because, I don't know, I just love that guy. Like, I think I've mentioned on here before, of all my time in Hall H at Comic-Con, I probably haven't enjoyed anybody more than Guillermo del Toro. He just seems like the coolest guy in the world. I don't know if you agree with me, Bobby, but I don't know. Every time I've seen him on stage there, it's because it's the only times I've seen him in person and do interviews like that. He's just so much fun. And I like his movies. I mean, some more than others for sure, but.
Yeah, you get that vibe when you watch him. He just loves what he does, and it's infectious in terms of his positivity and how he speaks about the things that he's doing. And he's always attached to so many different things. And I think he's probably like a kid in a candy store when it comes to movies and projects. He just loves so many different things and wants to do them all, but just doesn't have enough time to be able to do them. But you always think that anything that he's going to put his hands on and really try and develop, that it's going to come out as something you at least enjoy, if not really truly love.
So, Bobby, did you have any takeaways from any of the winners? Anything you agreed with highly or really disagreed with?
Not specifically, other than I would echo what you said in terms of Three Billboards. I was surprised that it did as well as it did. I wasn't expecting that, I guess. And same thing as far as with TV and the Handmaid's Tale. I guess I wasn't expecting that to do as well as it did at the awards. Also, it just seemed like, I thought, based on, I can't remember what the last awards show was. Was that the Emmys?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I guess I figured from the time of the Emmys to the time of the Golden Globes, maybe there would be a little bit more of a mixing up of some things getting in there in terms of the TV stuff, but it kind of shook out the same way it did there to a certain degree. Excuse me. And so I was surprised that it still kind of carried over this far after the Emmys had happened, but not in terms of, like you guys said, that they're not bad things. It's just surprising things, and everything else was kind of, I guess, par for the course in terms of what I was expecting.
Yeah. I mean, in a way, I know what you're saying. I definitely thought maybe something else would have taken more precedence over the TV shows as far as the drama section kind of taking over Handmaid's Tale. But I gotta say, Handmaid's Tale is that bad boy is awesome. And yeah, I mean, I got what I expected. I figured it'd be Handmaid's Tale. It would be Big Little Lies. It would be The Marvelous Miss Maisel. And it was. That's exactly what played out. I feel very comfortable with how TV went down, for sure. Yeah,
my predictions turned out okay. Considering how I thought I was going to do pre-predictions.
Yeah, me too.
Like I sat down with that little ballot we printed out and started like trying to predict, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to get like 4 of these right. Like,
that's what I was thinking.
This is just not my year in terms of trying to figure this stuff out. I really haven't been paying a lot of attention to kind of like professional predictions for the Golden Globes ahead of time. So I sat there and looked at it and thought there was no way I was going to get anything. And then I ended up with like a hair over half, I think, right?
Yeah, you did at least half. We're correct.
Yeah.
And I was just under you.
I did all right. But
I think it's funny.
No prizes for that.
Movies were my hardest section. TV's shockingly I did pretty good in.
That was the funny thing too. I expected to, like, I should bomb TV because I don't watch enough TV, but I have seen Big Little Lies, and I was looking at all of their nominations, and I'm like, I really feel like they're gonna win all of these, and they did. Well. And same thing. I have never seen The Marvelous Mrs. Is that Maisel?
Maisel.
But I've heard enough good things about it that I'm like, I have a feeling about that one. So I predicted those two. Yeah. And then I don't know. Yeah, for me, I felt like Handmaid's Tale was a shoo-in in terms of the categories it was nominated in. So I predicted those as well. So I did all right in TV, but movies, did okay.
And I feel kind of bad because in December I knocked out Marvelous Miss Maisel. And I really enjoyed that show, by the way. I know I don't think I've gotten a chance to talk about it, and I won't really get
No,
into it
you
now, but I
haven't.
will say I thoroughly enjoyed it. The writing in that show is awesome, and the lead in it, she is spectacular. She is something else. There is, I don't know, this role, this woman she's really good in this role, this very strong-willed woman in the late 50s, and it's good. It's really good. It's a very impressive show. I highly recommend people check it out. It's on Amazon.
Well, in other news, and I might go over to you, Bobby, on this one. You probably know more about it than me, but it seems like Black Panther is already making some news as its ticket sales just started this week. What, on Monday? I think.
I want to say it was No, not Sunday.
I think it was
Saturday.
It was during the college national championship. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
which was Saturday, right? Or was that?
No, I think it was Monday.
It was Monday night.
Oh, Monday.
Yeah, it was
Monday night.
Oh yeah. So I mean, basically, you kind of did a good setup there. It was the tickets went on sale on Monday, and within that 24-hour cycle. Apparently, the pre-sales on Fandango, according to Fandango, the Black Panther pre-sales are higher than the Captain America Civil War pre-sales in that same 24-hour period.
That is amazing and awesome all at the same time.
It is, and the Civil War, it ended up when it opened in May, it made 179 million that opening weekend. So they're trying to caution people, at least, to say that. Just because it's pre-selling well doesn't mean that will correspond and correlate to a huge box office.
Right.
But it is interesting when you just look at the fact that all the different movies that have come out after Civil War, in terms of their pre-sales, that Black Panther has beat all of them and is the top for MCU movies. So it does make you feel like it's going to be something special. There is also the movie is opening on February 16th, which is part of the 4-day President's Holiday Weekend, President's Day weekend.
Yeah.
And it's a couple days after Valentine's Day, so it falls a little bit after that. So it has all these different things, Black History Month playing into it as well, that it could open really big. They're pretty much projecting it right now between 80 and 85 million, but a possibility of going 100 plus. And between now and then, with all the different hype that will start building and commercials and publicity and just marketing, I think it could at least go, I'm going to guess like 120 to 130.
Oh.
Yeah, I feel like breaking 100 is pretty easy.
I think that's definitely happening. I'm guessing it's going to be at least 110.
I don't know if I'm ready for prediction yet, but yeah.
I'm definitely speculating.
Right.
But I mean, for the pre-sales, I mean, at this point, like you were saying, basically, it's out pre-sold Guardians 2, it out pre-sold Thor Ragnarok. Like, I'm talking MCU specifically. Like,
right.
That's
first 24 hours,
which is crazy.
That's a pretty solid pat on the back for them. Like, that is insane.
Yeah.
And again, this is just Fandango numbers, right?
You're right. These are
We're not
Fandango
talking
numbers.
about overall pre-sales.
I mean, you and I already have our tickets.
We got our tickets for Friday at noon.
Friday noon.
I'm getting my tickets tomorrow, so I'll see what's available. But I'm definitely trying to aim for that Thursday night show.
Yeah. Yeah, I was originally hoping the Thursday night show, but it wasn't that big a deal to me. But I was like, okay, Thursday night if I can pull it off. But again, picky about the Dolby Cinema thing. I'm like,
gotta have Dolby Cinema
seeing
now.
this in Dolby Cinema. I wanted by the time I'd looked at the only Dolby Cinema we have around here, it was pretty much already full. And I'm like, well, I'll just do midday Friday.
Look at Friday.
That'll be empty. And it was pretty empty at that point.
Yeah, it probably will be.
Yeah, we've got some pretty solid seats. I like our seats.
Yeah.
Down with them.
It's the highest grossing movie of all time for February right now. Do you know what it is?
I was going to say, is it still Deadpool?
Probably Deadpool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Deadpool. 132.4 million. So we'll see if, and that was rated R. So
Yeah.
Who knows?
Are we getting Deadpool next February? When do we get Deadpool?
No,
2?
it's this year.
Is it coming
this year? We've got three Marvel Fox movies coming this year, which are the New Mutants, the next X-Men movie, and then Deadpool 2. And one of them, I think, opens in March. I want to say it's New Mutants opens in March, I think.
It's going to be awesome.
What date did you say for Deadpool 2? Sorry.
Oh, I said this year. I don't know when.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know specifically when.
I forget.
I gotta look now. I gotta know.
Oh gosh,
Yeah.
darn.
It has a specific date, right? I mean, if it's this year,
It
has
does.
to.
This year, it's got a date for sure.
They all have specific dates because we've got those three, and then we've got three from Marvel, which is Black Panther, Avengers: Infinity War, and then Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Oh, it's got a good date.
Yeah.
So yeah, Deadpool 2 is on June 1st.
Right in the middle of summer. That's awesome.
And
The beginning of summer. It's awesome.
So I wonder when the X-Men movie is. I was thinking the order was New Mutants, X-Men, then Deadpool, but it sounds like since that's in June, maybe one of those other ones.
What's the name of this X-Men? Dark Phoenix?
Yeah.
Let's see, November 2nd.
Oh,
Nice.
I didn't realize it was that late.
Yeah.
So we're getting a good little spread there between February, June, and November. That's nice, though. I like that. I'm down with that.
Yeah. I don't think I've seen a big comic book movie open in November. Really? Has there been one?
The Thor films have been opening in November.
Yeah, Thor's been November.
Has it been always?
Yeah.
I know it's late
the second one did, and obviously the third one did.
The second and the third one, I can't remember the first Thor. I feel like that was always like a November release for some reason.
Yeah, that's interesting. I guess I didn't realize.
And then, I don't know why I just thought of this, but first of all, it was crazy to me. We talked about this last week on Side Effect, that how I'm like, that's right. This Han Solo movie is in May. Like, I can't believe.
May?
Yeah. It's
this May?
It is literally 4 months from now.
No, you are lying to me.
I'm not even kidding. Which is crazy that movie is 4 months away. And I mean, obviously we know some of the drama about the production, but it's 4 months away and we have seen nothing from this movie. No. It's May 25th.
So there's a rumor about that.
If there could be a photo of my face right now.
There's a rumor. Let's hear the rumor.
Yeah. The rumor is that there will be a trailer this Friday, and it'll premiere on Good Morning America. But I've not literally heard too many people talking about that. So I would imagine, I mean, it's already Wednesday. You would think by tomorrow they would say, hey, check out Good Morning America to see the trailer for Han Solo or Solo, you know.
Right.
So we'll see. I mean, like you said, it's in May, so
it's crazy close.
That is crazy.
Not even an official image. I mean, because that image that we saw recently was not official.
No, there's not been one official image. And you're looking at a May 25th release date. Are you effing kidding me?
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's crazy.
Wow. And we've had nothing. Not even.
This will be an interesting trailer to see.
God.
I will probably be dying to just jump on here and record something quickly to talk about just that trailer.
Yeah, we should do something.
Yeah.
Hell, even just an Instagram live or something.
Yeah, I mean, especially if it drops this Friday, because since we're doing our top 10 shows coming Sunday, we're not going to be talking about it.
Anything else other than top 10, yeah.
I'll be like, all right, everyone get on Skype. We're doing this.
Right.
Right now, I got to talk about this.
Oh, my God.
Well, unless anybody has anything else to kind of finish things off, since we're talking about Star Wars, I finally saw Star Wars The Last Jedi a second time.
Oh, yeah, you did, yeah.
Yeah, I did. What was that, last Friday? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And plenty of warning right now. If for some reason you're listening to this show and you still have not seen that movie, I am going to talk about spoilers for this movie. I don't really think I can help myself, so fuck it.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert for Last Jedi
alert.
again. If you have avoided the conversation that surrounds this film and you have not seen it, I will be spoiling it, or at least some aspects of it.
I've seriously got to get like a Star Trek red alert button. I got to.
That's not a hard sign to find.
I know it's not. I'm just saying I really should have it at the ready whenever we do spoilers. So I could be like, here goes. Here's your warning. Sorry, continue.
So yeah, where to begin? I saw it a second time. As I mentioned when we did our review, I was bummed that I didn't get to see it 2 times before we did our review, because I was like, I don't know, it was just there's so much in my mind and that I was thinking about that I really wanted to see it a second time. I couldn't pull it off. But in a way, it's been nice that I've had a little gap to to kind of sit with this movie and also just kind of sit back and kind of watch the conversation that's been going on, the epic battle that has been taking place over this film.
Yeah.
That's been, in a way, a lot more entertaining for me than the actual movie. And it's been something. And I don't know, but it's given me time to think about the movie. And I really was trying to go into the second viewing with, okay, obviously I'm not going into it with the same expectations I did the first time around. So I'm just going to try to go into this and just think of it as its own movie, to be a little more maybe open-minded about it. And I mean, with that said, yeah, did I enjoy it more the second time around? Yes. I definitely enjoyed the film more seeing it a second time.
Well, that's good.
But I think a lot of that comes from the expectations I went into the theater with the second time around. I mean, I knew what I was going to see. I knew all of these spoilery moments that were going to happen. I knew Snoke was going to die and everything. So I don't know. It was just a very different experience in that respect. So yeah, did I enjoy it? Yeah, it still has the moments that were amazing for me the first time were probably even more amazing the second time. Like that opening battle scene is incredibly fucking good. Mm-hmm. And the throne room fight scene, even with my opinions on Snoke dying, it's great. And in that moment when he kills Snoke and the lightsaber flies across and her hand reaches up and grabs it, like I get chills watching it. It's incredibly well done. The movie has a lot of great moments, but so yeah, I enjoyed it more the second time. With that said, I mean, overall, I basically still feel the same way about the movie. I mean, I wouldn't say I didn't walk out of it the second time like with any sudden kind of different opinion about anything other than some kind of detail kind of stuff. Like, for example, the humor stuff. I think in my review I talked about, a lot of the humor felt kind of almost like Marvel humor, and there was stuff in it that I felt like just kind of took me out of the movie a little bit, felt out of place. And I don't know, a lot of that stuff, like for instance, I think I made a comment about like when Luke, after he gets shot at by the First Order and he kind of does a little brush of his shoulder. Like, I mean, that's a very minor thing, but there was something about that when the first time I saw it that I'm like, yeah, really?
It bugged me.
But I got to say, the second time around, I don't know, I think maybe something about seeing it the second time around and knowing kind of already what Luke is doing for real in that moment,
right. Yeah.
It made a little more sense to me and it didn't bother me as much. But I would say the big humor moment that bugged me the most, and I think we talked about the most right at the beginning of the film with Poe and Hux. And Poe is kind of pulling the whole, oh, I'm on hold, I can't hear you, acting like he can't hear Hux talking to him. I basically still feel the same about that joke, but I think I kind of feel better about why it bothers me than I did before. And it's not so much that that whole joke is, I think, stupid, and I don't think it belongs in a Star Wars movie. But I think the thing that makes it odd is Hux, because, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on that actor's name. What's his name?
Domhnall Gleeson. Yeah.
He's basically giving you the same kind of performance he gave in Force Awakens, and I mean, Hux in Force Awakens was fine. I thought he was fine. But I don't know. I feel like in this movie, he does take it another level of, I don't know, what's the word? Like, he's not your typical Empire or First Order kind of.
He's like intense, kind of, I think.
He almost seems like a caricature of.
Yeah.
Of a bad guy.
Yeah.
And I think that joke in particular, that's what bugs me about it, is him. Like, I tried to imagine if that happened, but say it was that captain, or was he an admiral on the Dreadnought that we talked about during our review.
Right.
That guy feels like a bad guy. Like,
that would have been funnier with him.
I feel like if he had been in the Hux position and that joke played out, it would have worked.
Yeah, it would have been hilarious, actually.
But there's something I think about Hux and the way he's delivering his performance for that character. It made it feel more like I was watching like a Star Wars parody.
Right.
Well, And I don't even know that that joke would have worked with the other guy because I think that other guy would have figured out that he was stalling and wouldn't have actually taken him as long as it took Hux to even do anything.
Right, and I agree with you because that's the other thing I guess that doesn't work about the joke is that Hux is kind of playing into it, and you're like, come on, man, what the hell are you doing?
It took him at least one more too many. Like I remember kind of going, you really haven't figured this out yet. Like I could see like the first 2 times, by like the third one, I was like, you probably should figure this out. But then like when like in the fourth one, I was like, okay, come on, like,
right?
You really haven't pulled this together yet.
And there was some of the plot stuff that maybe bothered me the first time. That upon a second viewing, I was like, okay, I can see how they're kind of at least like, trying to explain it, like stuff like with the pursuit of the Resistance and. There's that moment where they have to pull back all their TIE fighters, and Hux makes a comment like, "Oh, you need to pull back. You're getting far enough away that we can't like cover you." And okay, fine. And the whole thing with Holdo not telling Poe her plan, upon a second viewing, I was like, okay, I kind of feel like there is more emphasis on the fact that he has been demoted, and that's why he's not being told anything. Okay, fine.
Yeah, I kind of get it.
I kind of get it. That aspect still bothers me a little bit, but okay, fine. Like, so that stuff didn't bother me as much the second time around. But yeah, overall, I mean, do I feel any drastic difference about the movie? Not really. I mean, I feel like, and I'll quote somebody else here, like Peter Soretta over at Slash Film. I like the way he puts it. Is like, the way he put it is, The Last Jedi on its own is a great movie. I will hesitate to use the word great, but he's like, it's a great movie on its own. But the thing that bothers him is that it's almost actively making The Force Awakens a worse movie. And I kind of see what he's saying. I agree with that because it is taking you basically gave a director the opportunity to make Episode 7 and set things up in a certain way. And then you gave another director the opportunity to, make the sequel to that, but you didn't give, like, you basically told him he could do whatever he wants, and he did, and he just kind of basically dismissed all of everything that was set up. And I think it does take away from the experience of watching The Force Awakens. I haven't watched Force Awakens since I've seen this movie, but one of the aspects that makes that movie, I think, kind of great is a lot of the stuff that movie is setting up. Especially considering, like, when Force Awakens happened, this is supposed to have been, like, 30 years since, Return of the Jedi. And it's been so long, and we're all like, what is going on in the Star Wars universe right now? And, okay, we see this movie, Force Awakens, and it's kind of asking all these questions. That's, like, making you more interested. Like, oh, man, what is this? Who's this guy? But then, Last Jedi comes around, and it's like, we don't really care about all that stuff. Like, let's just do this instead. And I don't know, it's still frustrating to me. So, yeah, I think Last Jedi is a really, really good film. Do I think it's great? No, I don't. I think there are problems with it. I still hate the Canto Bight section.
Oh, God.
And with that said, I think the movie is too long. The second viewing, I was sitting there going, this is too long for a Star Wars movie.
If they got rid of the whole Canto Bight, if they literally got rid of that entire section of the story completely.
Yeah. That
film, I think, would be just right on the button, dude.
Yeah. But, I don't know. That's the stuff that still kind of bothers me about it. I'm not saying it's a bad film when I probably come across so negative about it. It is very good, but it's frustrating. In one respect, it's nice that, Disney and Lucasfilm are like letting filmmakers do their own thing. And in a lot of ways, that's awesome. But in this situation, it's like if you're going to say, okay, we're making a trilogy of movies, and you kind of feel like there's going to be an overarching theme to that. It's odd to me the way they're approaching the way they're making these movies. If you were just giving everyone free reign to kind of do anything. Because Bobby, like you said last week on Side Effect, like what's to say now Abrams is going to come back in and take everything Rian Johnson did and go, fuck all that. Like, I'm going to retcon this and do that and change this. Like, I don't know. It's kind of frustrating. So.
And then people will look bad at J.J. Abrams for not doing something different, which why would you look bad at him for wanting to continue to tell the story he set up?
Right.
So it's like, that doesn't make sense. It makes it worse for him to be in that position. He's like, dude, I was kind of wanting to tell this story, but now he's kind of tied my hands in a way that Other people on other podcasts or other commentary are saying that it's making it more free for JJ because doesn't feel like he has to be shackled to the things that he set up. But I'm thinking in my head, well, he was trying to tell a specific story, so why would that be more freeing if you essentially took away the things that he was setting up? If he still wants to tell that story, then you're making it harder for him to tell that story. Now he has to maybe tell a different story that he didn't initially want to see play out. So I don't know. It's just very strange the way people have sort of approached the idea of what Rian Johnson did for this movie in terms of how it affects the next movie.
Right. So yeah, I mean that's where I am. A lot of again, other stuff I still feel the same. I still am not as big of a fan of the way a lot of the main characters are written in this movie, like Finn and Rey. I don't enjoy these characters as much as I did in Force Awakens. Yeah, that's where I am. I might try to sneak it in one more time before it leaves theaters. Kind of doubt it, but I'm glad I got to see it at least a second time. Definitely. That was definitely going to happen, and luckily it did pretty recently. Amongst me trying to watch new stuff, which I've been doing a lot of, but I still have a lot more to do before Sunday.
So many more movies to watch. Oh my
God. But yeah, that's my final word basically on this podcast about Last Jedi. I've got nothing else. I think I'm exhausted talking about that movie now. Thumbs up from Michelle.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree.
No, it's been interesting listening to other podcasts and YouTube videos, people talking about this movie, and me like sitting in my car, like wanting to throw things around the car, listening to people talk about this movie. Like, what the fuck are you? No, it's been stressful. This movie has been stressful, Michelle.
Have a sip of the wine. It'll be okay.
It's the most stressful Star Wars movie I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. Oh, you were going to say something, Bobby?
No, I was just going to say, I don't think that Solo will be nearly as stressful. Either it seems like, well, maybe there'll be a middle ground, but the way it's shaping up, it seems like people either are going to love it or hate it.
Yeah.
And so we're hoping that people will love it, but it won't cause me any stress if I didn't like it.
You're definitely going to get both. I mean,
yeah.
Like I heard, listening to a podcast just the other day, and then they were talking about Last Jedi, and somebody who was definitely highly defending Last Jedi and loved it, at one point mentioned how she hated Rogue One, and I almost again threw something around in my car. I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Is she?
What? You hated that movie?
She's clearly taking something. Wow.
Anyways, so that's Star Wars. We'll be talking about the top 10 films of 2017 this Sunday. I'm really looking forward to it. I've been watching a lot of good movies recently. I've got a few movies left to watch, which will hopefully also be good. And then I will sit down with probably 20 good movies and go, fuck, what am I going to do? And I'll probably be doing that like Sunday morning.
Right. No, yeah.
I'll probably watch my last movie Saturday night at some point, and then Sunday morning sit down and knock out a list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like I still want to see Three Billboards. I still want to see Call Me by Your Name. There's something else.
The Post.
I want to see The Post. Yeah, dude. Yeah.
The Post and Call Me by Your Name are definitely happening this weekend. Like, because here in Orlando, we haven't had a chance to see either of those movies until this weekend.
Yeah.
So that's definitely happening. And yeah, same thing. If I can fit in 3 Billboards, I'm going to try. I've got a couple movies at home I still want to watch, like Mother. I'm going to try to squeeze in. And it's unfortunate because there was a couple movies I actually wanted to rewatch that I saw earlier in the year and definitely have a very good chance of being on my top 10. But it's like I kind of want to rewatch them to get a better sense of where they're going to go. Yeah. Because it's been so long.
I just don't know if I have the time to do that, though.
And that's my problem.
I just don't think I have the time to rewatch anything right now.
I don't think I'm going to have time to rewatch these. So I'm kind of bummed about that. But
do you have any you're trying to squeeze in, Bobby?
Not really.
No. You're a little bit better about seeing a lot of stuff than we are.
Yeah. There's maybe a few that are not in the theaters that I still kind of wanted to see if I get a chance. But
like The Post?
I don't know. Well, that's in theaters. So that's literally the only movie in theaters that I need to see. And the other ones are not in theaters anymore, so I could probably watch them. But I don't know how if they would be good enough to make my top 10. Maybe an honorable mention, but
Right.
yeah. So it's not a necessity for me to see those other ones. But the Post is definitely one I'll check out this weekend.
Gotcha.
So yeah, we'll be recording that this Sunday. Look for that to drop Monday night, and we'll try to keep it at a reasonable length. We'll do our best, and yeah, I'm excited about it.
It's funny because I feel like our top 10 shows are. I think it's it's usually one of our best shows. I mean, I love a lot of our shows that we do. Like I have favorites every year, but I think the top 10 is almost always one of my favorite shows to do and to listen to. The caveat to that is it's a longer show than our traditional shows. And so I think sometimes the listeners are like, it's so long. But at the same time, like, it's really entertaining. Like, we all have really good insights, I think, on films and, like, final thoughts. And I don't know. It's refreshing. I really enjoy the Top 10 show a lot. It's one of my favorites.
And I enjoy it, too, because I think unlike a lot of the other Top 10, lists I've read or other shows I've listened to, I feel like I enjoy the fact that we don't know our list ahead of time.
Right, like I have no idea what you're going to say. I don't know what Yasha or Bobby are going to say. Nobody knows what anybody's picking at any given time. It's always like, oh, really? Oh, man. Yeah. Oh, you go.
So, yeah, a lot of times that does mean that we'll be talking about the same movies at different times throughout the show. But it's nice not knowing. It makes it a lot of fun. So
I totally agree.
So, yeah, we'll be doing that this weekend. And unless anybody has anything else, it's time to get out of here. Yeah, I think we're good. Yeah. So, as always, you can find this show on iTunes, on Google Play Music, on our iHeartRadio, or whatever podcast app you use. Just simply search for Flicker Effect. Make sure you subscribe. And you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Flicker Effect, on Instagram at Flicker Effect.
Yeah, I'm always making a fool of myself on Instagram.
Oh, yeah, you did a lot of Golden Globe stuff on there.
I was down with the Golden Globes.
Yeah. And on Twitter at Flicker_Effect. With that, I'm David Lott.
I'm Bobby Jackson.
And I'm Michelle Hillard.
Thanks for listening.